Welcome back to another recap. Today we're diving into the movie Thunderbolts. The film opens with Yelena Belova perched on the edge of a building, staring into the void. She's not doing great. According to her own voiceover, the emptiness started when her sister Natasha died, but it's evolved into something deeper. Or maybe she's just incredibly bored. Then she jumps off the roof and infiltrates a lab. Elena's life these days is a rinse and repeat cycle of cleaning jobs, hits, and low emotional returns. She kills people for work. She feels nothing. Currently, she's on assignment in Malaysia, doing a cleaning job for Contessa Valentina de Fontaine, the head of the OX group. But even with the job in progress, Elena still feels empty. She takes down a handful of guard with ease and has tied one. But he doesn't have what she needs, a face for the lab's facial recognition system. Inside the lab, her task is to destroy evidence. Just then, one of the scientists confronts her. He warns her about something called Project Sentry, saying it has the potential to destroy the world. Yelena's heard it all before. She's not moved. Then the scientist pulls a gun, but he's not exactly a trained assassin. In the scuffle, he ends up shooting himself in the face, which is unfortunate. Not because he's dead, but because now Elena still doesn't have a face to unlock the system. So she just blows the whole lab up. Cut to Washington, D.C. There's a congressional hearing underway, an impeachment committee aimed at removing Valentina from her post as CIA director. Among those watching is none other than Bucky Barnes, who is now a freshly elected congressman. Valentina shows up like she owns the room. She reminds everyone of the Red Hulk incident, how the Avengers are long gone, and how she's just doing what's necessary. She tells the committee they won't find anything useful. They're wasting their time. Valentina might play it cool in front of Congress, but backstage, she's sweating bullets. She tells her assistant they need to erase any trace of her connection to the labs and experiments fast. Meanwhile, Elena pays a visit to her old man, Alexei, aka the Red Guardian. She tells him she is tired of the missions and the aimlessness. She wants out of Valentina's game. Alexei tells her the only time he felt real purpose was when he was serving his country as a hero, saving people and being cheered by the crowd. He says Natasha got that. Maybe Elena should try it too. Elena hears him. After she leaves, she calls Valentina and says she wants a job with purpose. Valentina says fine. But first, one last mission. Valentina sends Elena to the vault with a simple job: stop Ava Starr. She claims Ava's there to steal something. First, find out what, then shoot her. Inside, Elena discovers something worse: files and photos showing dead bodies tied to Project Sentry. She moves in to eliminate Ava, but gets jumped by John Walker, and the two explode into a fight. Then Antonia Dreykov shows up and opens fire. Chaos breaks out, and just when things seem like they can't get messier, Ava phases in front of Dreykov and shoots her in the head. The smoke clears, and the three survivors discover a fourth, a civilian named Bob, freshly thawed from some suspended animation pod. He has no memory of how he ended up there. They quickly deduce that Valentina sent them to target each other. Val is trying to get rid of all the evidence, which includes the assassins. Ava tries to escape by phasing through the door, but a supersonic machine disrupts her powers. They're boxed in by design. Meanwhile, Valentina is at a gala, a fake event to save herself from the impeachment. She's there with Mel, her assistant. Bucky's also there, quietly working with Congressman Gary to bring Val down from the inside. He approaches Mel, hands her his contact details, and suggests she think about working for someone who is more honest. Then Val orders Mel to incinerate the vault. Inside the vault, Elena, Ava, and Walker realize they've got 2 minutes before they're turned into ashes. Panic sets in. Arguments start. But Elena comes up with the only shot they've got: shut down the machine that's jamming Ava's phasing ability. She finds a power source, and Walker destroys it with a shield. With her powers restored, Ava phases through the exit and opens the vault from the outside just in time. The place lights up behind them, but they're out. But then, Elena brushes against Bob, and it hits her. She's not in the vault anymore. She's inside a memory. She sees herself as a child, luring another girl, Anya, into the woods for execution. Her first test. Yelena snaps out of it, rattled. Back in the limo, Mel reviews surveillance footage from a vault and realizes the worst-case scenario. The targets have teamed up. Valentina doesn't take the news well. She immediately orders a full strike team to wipe them out. Then she notices Bob in the footage. She wants an ID on the guy. Mel doesn't know who he is either, but she promises to find out. As they step out of the limo, we see the driver is Alexei, and he heard everything. Meanwhile, inside the vault, Yelena, Walker, Ava, and Bob are trying to find a way out. Tension is building. Everyone wants to know who Bob really is and how he got there. He tells Walker the only thing he remembers. He signed up for an experiment and then woke up here. Walker isn't buying it. They get into a fight until Yelena pulls them apart. She talks with Bob. He tells her to just leave him behind. He says he ruins everything. Yelena doesn't budge. She tells him she understands the emptiness, the void. But you push it down. That's how you survive. She tells him that they're all alone, but for now, they all have to find a way out, so they should stick together. After that, he can do whatever he wants. Meanwhile, Mel makes a move. She calls Bucky. He tells her it's time to bring Valentina down and urges her to testify. She doesn't say yes, but she does tell him to track her phone. That's all he needs. Back in the vault, the group stumbles upon an elevator shaft. Yelena looks up and states the obvious. No one here can fly. Bob finally speaks up. He's got an idea. They lock arms and climb up the walls together. No one's thrilled, but it's their only shot. Meanwhile, Mel has identified Bob. John Doe is actually a Sentry survivor. Valentina is thrilled. Back in the shaft, things get shaky. Walker grabs one of Yelena's batons to pull himself up. For a second, it seems like the whole chain will fall, but they manage to hold on and reach the top. But then Walker makes contact with Bob's hand. Instantly, he's hit with a shameful memory of himself arguing with his wife for paying more attention to news articles about his failure of being the new Captain America instead of their son. At the same time, Valentina arrives outside the vault with a full strike team. Orders are clear: eliminate Yelena, Walker, and Ava, but take Bob alive. He's too valuable. The only known survivor of Project Sentry. The group splits up. Ava phases through the chaos, trying to secure a getaway vehicle. Meanwhile, Yelena, Walker, and Bob stay behind to fight off the team. Outnumbered, they manage to take down a few agents and steal their gear. Disguised in tactical uniforms, they slip out. Just in time, Ava pulls up with a car. They pile in. Bob plays the injured mate in the back seat while the rest pose as a medical team escorting him. They drive off, but they're stopped by guards. The guards grow suspicious. The cover isn't holding. Sensing it's going south, Bob steps out of the van and makes himself the distraction. The guards open fire on him, but the bullets do nothing. Valentina watches, stunned. Then Bob lifts off, flying into the sky. But he doesn't know his limits yet. At high altitude, he passes out, plummets back down, and crashes into the desert with a massive impact. The blast takes out the vault and sends a shockwave that flips the gang's getaway vehicle. Elsewhere in the desert, Yelena, Walker, and Ava trek on foot. Yelena shows them the documents she found on Project Sentry. The files state that the subject, the Sentry, was meant to possess the power of 1,000 suns. Valentina's men catch up and secure Bob. He's boxed up and loaded for transport to the Watchtower, the former Avengers Tower in Manhattan. By morning, the group is running on fumes but keeps walking. Then, a car honks from the road. Yelena groans. It's her father. Alexei pulls up and waves them in. He says he was Valentina's limo driver the night before and overheard that Yelena was a target. In the car, he tries to rally them with a speech about being a team. Ava shuts it down, calling them a pack of delinquents. Alexei shrugs it off and tells Yelena it doesn't matter. The light shines brighter in her anyway. Scrappy anti-heroes. That's what they are. Walker chuckles and throws out a name. The Thunderbolts, a callback to Yelena's awful childhood soccer team. They never won a game. And one time, a girl pooped in the middle of the field. Alexei excitedly asks what the plan is now. He's fired up about the idea of a real team, a chance to bring glory and light. But Yelena and Walker just want to split up and disappear. Alexei is visibly crushed. Yelena cuts him off. Valentina is hunting them. They can't win. Alexei pushes back. Val is going to use the sentry power, and if anyone's going to stop her, it has to be them. Before they can argue further, a convoy of vans closes in. The strike team opens fire. Walker deflects bullets with a shield. Ava tries to phase, but gets hit with another supersonic ray. Yelena then comes out of the window to shoot, but a shot from the distance takes out the lead van. Bucky rolls in on a motorcycle, lobbing grenades and taking out the convoy one vehicle at a time. The team starts celebrating until Bucky tosses a grenade at their limo. It flips over. Meanwhile, Congressman Gary calls an emergency impeachment session. He claims they've uncovered fresh, damning evidence against Valentina, and her days of evading justice are numbered. Inside the watchtower, Valentina oversees final preparations in the lab. Mel warns her the building isn't fully operational yet, and more importantly, that Bob is mentally unstable and dangerously unpredictable. Val brushes it off. Bob wakes up to find Valentina waiting. She tells him he's not just anyone. He's Sentry, a being with the power of a god. She spins the truth. He volunteered for a cutting-edge medical study. Most people couldn't handle what was inside him, but he survived. That makes him special. Bob asks her what happened to Yelena, to which she responds that Yelena and her group are the villains. Val touches his hand and sees a memory of herself as a child, where she accidentally invited into her home a man that ended up killing her father. Bob promises Val that he can keep his powers under control. Wasting no time, Val orders Mel to round up the press at the watchtower. She's giddy to debut her little science project. Mel reminds her that Bob is unstable, chemically supercharged, and statistically likely to explode. Val doesn't want to hear it. She just wants to know if the kill switch still exists. Spoiler, it doesn't. It got tossed out with the incriminating evidence. She tells Mel to just build another one. Meanwhile, Bucky is holding Yelena, Alexei, Walker, and Ava captive in an abandoned shed outside of town. He claims they're all evidence in Valentina's impeachment trial. The group spills everything they know: Valentina's scheme, Project Sentry, and Bob, the unstable guinea pig turned walking weapon. Bucky doesn't take it seriously until Mel calls. She warns him that Valentina's gone fully rogue and that Bob's mental health was already in pieces when he was recruited. Now, with Sentry's power, he's a ticking bomb. Mel urges Bucky to get involved fast. With that, Bucky changes course. He frees the group and tells them they have a mission: stop Valentina before her experiment turns into a full-blown disaster. Val overhears Mel warning Bucky and confronts her, explaining her belief that there are bad guys and worse guys, and while she knows she's a bad guy, she wants to prevent the worse guys from taking over. Then she heads off to check on her favorite experiment, Bob. She wants to test his powers and see what he is capable of. She gives him a pep talk, insisting he has limitless potential and she believes in him. The newly minted Thunderbolts drive into the city in a big white truck. Alexei asks Bucky what their plan is. In response, Bucky crashes the truck straight through Val's watchtower. The Thunderbolts then fight off her guards. At the end, they hear Valentina's voice through a speaker. She says they should just come up because they're messing up her new renovations. Upstairs, Valentina proceeds to mock them one by one. The group demands to know where Bob is and what she has done to him. Then Val proudly presents Bob, now fully suited up as the Sentry, wearing a new yellow suit and with freshly dyed blonde hair. She declares that he is stronger than all of the Avengers combined. Val lays out her dark plan. Sentry will kill the Thunderbolts in front of the press and frame it as a win against rogue agents gone bad. Yelena tries to reach Bob, urging him that he doesn't have to go through with this, but he's too far gone, fully under Val's manipulation. Alexei has heard enough and charges at Sentry, only to be immediately hurled into a wall. The rest try to fight, but it's pointless. Sentry blocks bullets, flies, and has overwhelming strength. He beats the team down, even ripping off Bucky's vibranium arm and hitting him with it. Finally, they retreat to the elevator. Val tells Sentry to finish them, but he starts to turn on her, realizing he doesn't need her anymore. Outside the watchtower, morale tanks. Yelena calls it. They're losers, and this fight is over. Alexei won't have it. They're the Thunderbolts. They just need a new plan. But the team fractures and goes their separate ways. Inside, Sentry unravels. He's unsure about his new godlike form, uneasy with Val's orders, but drunk on power. Sentry says he will show Valentina what he's truly capable of. He grabs her by the neck and warns she should be very afraid. Before he can choke her, Mel arrives and uses a kill switch to knock him out. As Val and Mel leave, Bob's body on the ground is swallowed by darkness. Outside, Alexei catches up to Yelena just as she breaks down, confessing how hurt she was for him vanishing from her life, leaving her completely alone. Alexei reminds her she's stronger than she thinks and that he is here now. His words help, and together they join a crowd gazing upward. Meanwhile, Mel delivers grim news to Val. The cleanup crew at the penthouse found no body. Suddenly, Sentry, now transformed into the Void, appears in the sky. Tower guards open fire, but their bullets have no effect. Choppers arrive, closing in with heavy fire, but Sentry's power turns the shooters themselves into shadows. All of the choppers crash into the buildings and eventually on the ground, causing chaos to unleash. As debris rains down, the Thunderbolts regroup to rescue civilians. Alexei shields a group from falling rubble, then launches Yelena into the air. She lands in front of a speeding truck and pulls a woman to safety just in time. The truck crashes into a minivan, which careens toward a man and a woman, until Bucky steps in front. The van bounces off him harmlessly. Nearby, a massive slab of concrete threatens to crush a woman. Walker catches it with his powers and holds it steady. Alexei, Bucky, Ava, and Yelena rush to help, turning the disaster around. Just as they catch their breath, another chunk of concrete hurtles toward a little girl. Alexei bolts forward and takes the hit, the concrete splitting in two as it crashes down on his back. But right before Alexei's eyes, the little girl turns into a black shadow. One by one, the surrounding civilians begin to turn into shadows as well. Sentry, still hovering in the sky as the Void, warns the Thunderbolts they can't outrun the emptiness. The team scrambles and hides inside a building, but Yelena has a different plan. She's determined to enter the Void and stop Sentry herself. Alexei pleads with her not to, but she won't be swayed. She steps inside the Void. Inside, Yelena finds herself trapped in a maze of memories. One of them her first kill, Anya. She fights through her trauma, confronting and battling herself. Outside, Ava rallies the team, convincing them to follow Yelena into the Void to help. In this maze of dark memories, Yelena finally finds Bob, sitting quietly in a room. She tells him she just wants to talk. Shouting and crashing fill the air. It's Bob's traumatic memory of abuse, his father's rage, and his mother blaming him for trying to defend her. Yelena tries to pull him from the darkness. She admits she was wrong to tell him to bury his pain. They need to face it to lighten the load. Bob agrees to leave, but suddenly objects fly at them. He says he's the one doing it, warning her to get used to the pain. There's no death here, only endless suffering. They're wrapped in a choking curtain, struggling to breathe, when the rest of the team bursts into the Void, breaking the chaos. They ask Bob how to escape. He says it's just endless rooms. This one is the nicest he's found. Yelena insists he shows them the worst. They follow him through twisted visions, including Bob dressed as a chicken, waving a giant sign. Finally, they reach the lab where it all began. Bob explains how, while chasing drugs, a man told him about a trial drug promising strength, a miracle chance to prove he was more than his addiction. In the lab, Bob's Void double waits, taunting and overpowering the others. Bob pleads with his dark self to spare them, insisting he's stronger. The fight erupts. Bob throws punch after punch, but that's exactly what the Void wants, for them to merge. Yelena breaks free and pulls Bob into a hug, reminding him he's not alone. The Void whispers it's always been just the two of them. The Thunderbolts break free and join the embrace, grounding Bob. He finally pulls himself from the Void. The city and its people return to normal. The darkness lifts, and the little girl, once turned to shadow, is whole again. Outside the Void, Bob has no memory of what just happened, but insists he's feeling fine. The Thunderbolts catch sight of Valentina and give chase, but she saves herself by throwing together a press conference on the spot. She reveals assembling the team was her plan all along. She announces them as the New Avengers. As the crowd cheers the new heroes, Yelena reminds Valentina that now they own her. 14 months later, the New Avengers face a mixed reception. Some embrace them, others don't. Bob struggles to control his powers, fearing the Void's return. Suddenly, the team spots an unidentified spacecraft entering Earth's atmosphere, marked with a giant number 4. Text on screen promises the New Avengers and Bob will return. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time,